Hi, my name's Sarah and I'm a long-termer here at the Kung Fu program on Team Bootcamp, and I'm going to tell you my story. Okay, I'm Sarah, I'm 31, I live in London. I've struggled with my weight for a very long time and had an active eating disorder as well as clinical depression. And I've lost weight before quickly but always put it back on. And by Christmas, I'd gotten to over 28 stone and I was struggling to walk, and my mum was just like, if you don't do something by the end of this year, I'm really worried that you're going to be in one of those mobility scooters. I had done a lot of work mentally. I'd spent 2 years in full-time eating disorder treatment, and I had made a lot of progress mentally by that time, but behaviourally and physically I was still very much stuck in this cycle of almost addiction. I think it is very hard to break it by yourself. It's hard to find the motivation and the energy because you're so huge and you're in pain all the time. My mum suggested to try like a boot camp, and I wasn't really keen on the idea, but I agreed I was saying, oh, maybe a week or so to try and kickstart. And it was by pure accident that I contacted Paula, and she mentioned that they had the Conquer Food program. I was like, oh, leaving my life for 3 months, that's a really huge thing. But then, I was discussing it with my mum, and it's kind of like, you don't get these chances very often. Like, in fact, you never get these chances. I would have killed for this when I was 20. Fortunately, I've lost my 20s. I'm 31. I mean, I'm still young. But you kind of... I would have killed for this at the time, but sometimes you have to wait till you're ready. And it just seemed like a really weird, perfect falling in my lap. I couldn't believe it. It was just the right time. And so I signed on for 12 weeks. Yeah, I think it's very scary to go somewhere new, especially when you're big, because I was very self-conscious. So you're coming first to a new place with new people for an extended period of time. You're also going to be doing training with other people, and you just think, God, am I going to be the odd one out, like unable to do stuff? And you just worry about being judged, whether the place is going to be equipped to deal with really big people, because you think, well, if it's military, what if they're trying to make me do stuff I can't physically do, and then there's nothing I can do, and I just feel terrible about myself. And actually those fears were completely unfounded when I got here. It was me and one other guy who were the biggest people here, definitely, and that's something you do have to deal with, because you can't expect everyone to be the same size. But the trainers always made me feel really comfortable, and they sort of seemed to be aware of the dangers and not wanting to, hurt my joints and things like that. For me, probably the most important thing is that the food is really enjoyable, even though it's healthy. And because if I feel like, oh God, I'm eating rabbit food, it's just I'm going to be like wanting to rip my own skin off to like scale the wall to try and get McDonald's or something. Obviously, it's a bit of a shock to the system when you're used to eating thousands and thousands of calories a day in terms of what your stomach's used to consuming, and you come here and you do have to go through that adjustment period. But what I'd say to anyone who did come is push through that, because once your system started to adjust, it's like I don't feel hungry here now. And that's really important, because I wouldn't want to be like doing everything, feeling starving all the time. That would be really, really hard, because I've always associated weight loss and diets and losing weight with kind of sort of deprivation, like that the only way that I can be healthy and have a body I want is to have this really horrible sacrifice where I'm constantly fighting against my body wanting to eat and having to sort of almost punish myself. And I think it's really important to learn that you don't have to do that, because it's not sustainable if you feel like you're starving yourself constantly. So yeah. Oh, I mean, so many things. Like this is a new way of living that I want to keep up when I go out, go home. I'm just really looking forward to being able to do so many more things. Like when you're obese, there's so many things that you go. Your friends want to go to a theme park and you're like, yeah, I can't go because I can't fit in the things, or I haven't travelled for 2 years because I wouldn't be able to fit in on a plane seat. There's so many things I think, I'd really love to take that up or try that, I was reading about this zombie race where you can some people are dressed up as zombies and you run around London trying to not get caught by the zombies, and things like that actually sound fun to me, but I just physically wouldn't be able to do anything. And for me also, my first love is boxing, so I'm really looking forward to being able to resume boxing training, which I haven't done for 2 years because I just wasn't capable of it, to achieve so much more than I would ever be able to achieve at home, and something that even if I could do it at home, it would take me years. And I've already lost my 20s. I kind of want to enjoy myself. I want my life back. And I think more than just that, we have so many influences in our life that aren't necessarily bad, but when you're trying to fully overcome something that's taken over your life and that is a serious illness, which is the way I see it for myself, it's a full-time battle, is recovery, and it's like a full-time job, and you need to be able to 100% focus on it. If you're sort of trying to deal with life and everything else getting in the way, and things always will, it's just always going to throw you off, especially when you're going through the initial stages where you're kind of vulnerable. And I think that's what coming away gives you, as well, as a place where you're surrounded by people who are positive, or reminding you to be positive, reminding you of what your goals are and what you're focused on, and it just allows you to do the job that you want to do. Because if I'm at home, I'm going to get distracted by, I've got to sort out paying those bills, or my friend's really upset and I'm going to have to talk to them, or my ex-boyfriend's annoying me, something. There's always going to be something. But here you get to completely submerge yourself in it. Taking the time out to get strong enough to be able to go back to life and continue to deal with those things and maintain your health. Because at the end of the day, health's the only thing we have, and money can't buy that. Your health has to come first. And as my mum would always say, you can only get away with it for so long. It was unpleasant, but I was getting away with kind of being that obese during my 20s because I could still kind of move pretty well for my size, and was sort of kind of getting away. But you kind of go into your 30s and you start to all have pain in your joints, and also other things start going wrong, and it's only so long before you get to a point where it's irreparable. And I don't want to be sitting there at 50 going, I've had no life because I was imprisoned by fat, basically, is what it would have been. So. And I've still got further to go, and so do you. So what are you waiting for?